Hi there, welcome to Jake's Place. Overlooking the beautiful north shore of Lake Erie. I'm your host, Tia McGrath, and this is my podcast for storytellers. Come on in, ghouls and gals. Welcome to episode 11 and our Halloween special. We're here to cast away your stay-at-home on Halloween COVID blues with a little songs and tales, taking you all the way from Transylvania to Newfoundland. As if that wasn't scary enough. So grab yourself a cup of brew and come on in, because it's a messed up world. And the scariest thing is, this is our final episode before the American 2020 election.
Understand the way kids feel today. If they did, they blame it on us anyway. The road's so twisted, there's no telling what we'll find. Cleaning up the garbage that's been left behind. Yeah, it's a messed up world. Every boy and girl gotta stand up and fight back for more of what we like in this messed up world, messed up world, yeah. Well, maybe I'll just sit and stare thoughts away. Imagine rocks and trees and somewhere safe to play. Politics, religion, and the guns they sell could never make me buy that river ride to hell. Yeah, it's a messed up world. Every boy and girl gotta stand up and fight back for more of what we like in this messed up world, messed up world, yeah. Mess with my world.
So we're all decked out here at Jake's place on the north shore of Lake Erie. We got our jack-o'-lantern just a-glowing. We got our candles all lit. Tommy's just finished off a bag of chocolates. He's wired to go.
I'm wired to go.
Halloween is one of my favorite times of year. I usually dress up as a witch, put on my haunted house music, and hand out candy. I just love the opportunity to see kids laugh and smile and have a good time. And of course, this year we have so many towns around the world who are in lockdown, and been following their Facebook and social media posts, and the mothers who are fighting back and forth, which is a scary thing in itself, as whether they're going to take their children out for trick-or-treating or not. And so for all of you who've stayed home, who have to stay home, we hope you'll enjoy this Halloween party that we've put together with you. And I've dug up a few stories from around the world that we want to share along with our songs. And maybe it's just a Transylvanian in me, Tommy. I don't know.
Perfect for this.
My grandparents, as I've mentioned earlier, came over to Canada. My grandmother in 1930, my grandfather, I think, a year or two before. And they landed in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Grandma always told me stories about the old country. And I remember as a little girl, I used to say, Grandma, was Dracula real? And she says, oh yeah, there was a Vlad the Impaler, but he wasn't the character that Bram Stoker's has made him out to be. So I thought we would dig up a little story here, but in the meantime, we had the opportunity to travel to Transylvania. It was on my bucket list to go find the village where my grandparents lived. And it was a little town. They called it Bosch when they lived there, but after the war it was changed to Batos. And it wasn't far. In fact, it's in the Carpathian Mountains, but not far from a town called Shigashora. So we had a chance to go to Shigashora, and it is the coolest place. In fact, if you look up tourism Transylvania, it's listed as one of the coolest places to go, one of the prettiest towns actually. But it's a living citadel and also the birthplace of Vlad the Impaler. So we had a chance to go in and see this place, and quite scary, wasn't it, Tommy?
That was probably the coolest thing that we've done on our adventures on the road, is hanging out in this citadel. And if you don't know what those are, it's a town completely encased behind a giant wall.
Fort, a living fort.
It's a living fort. Fortress. So you have to go through a gate to get into it. And we were with
Ryan
and Marion Philippe, the
Transylvanian cowboy.
The Transylvanian cowboy. He's so awesome. And we decided after dinner to take a walk around the citadel at night, and it was close to midnight. And we were walking around, and at that point the tourists were all gone, or gone to bed maybe, and there were just a few people roaming around. But you and I and Marion and Ryan decided, well, let's just go wandering down these corridors that are all dark. And we accidentally ended up, by wrong turns and creepy throughways, ended up on the outside of the citadel, on the opposite side of the wall.
I don't know how it happened.
I don't know how it happened either, but it was like the creepiest thing, because we were freaking out. We were going, how do we get back in? And we're walking around, and we're getting freaked out, going, I don't know if we're going to get back in. And I think there was a group of little houses, and one had this little creepy little church in it, and you said, let's go this way.
Yeah.
It said, sure, why not? Let's go the creepy church way. And it was ironically the weirdest path back to the gate, the main gate to the thing. But we had walked clear around the city in the dark, talking stories and
Cobblestones.
cobblestones.
It was just
everywhere.
amazing.
Oh, it was
just
so cool.
amazing.
It was so much fun.
Well, we all know of Bram Stoker's Dracula, of course, and it was based on the real life Vlad the Impaler. And I looked up some spooky things about Transylvania, and I actually came up with this article, 10 Dark Transylvanian Legends You Won't Find in Dracula,
Really?
written by Anna Maria Boer. And I picked out 2 of them which I thought were cool. We're going to share some ghost stories with you right now. Yeah. Okay. Many times the inhabitants of Transylvania, the Romanian region that everyone knows thanks to Bram Stoker's Dracula, are quite annoyed by the fact that people have only heard about it from the novel. After all, the region has a fantastic culture, some of the best universities in the country, beautiful nature, and a unique cultural mix. But that's not all. Transylvania is also home to many mysterious places and legends that could easily inspire other novels. And I've picked out 2 of them. Abrud Castle's Weeping Bride. The Abrud fortification in northern Transylvania was built in the 16th century and is currently being renovated so tourists can enjoy its history. According to local legend, they could get much more than they bargained for. It seems that the lord of the fortress, Francis Rothesay, was successfully keeping an invading army at bay. In order to defeat him, the invaders sent a handsome officer to charm his daughter, who became so enamored that she revealed the existence of a secret tunnel. Her father managed to escape, but not before cursing her for eternity. However, he was nice enough to allow redemption via kissing, as in any good story. So the princess would be released if one brave man were to kiss her in 3 ghostly forms: a snake, a frog, and a weeping bride. Girls, how many have we kissed in those snake, frog, and weeping bride? I mean,
What are you saying?
we don't need our dads to lock us up in a fortress. But anyway, I regress. A snake, a frog, and a weeping bride who would appear in front of him. As far as we know, the princess is still working on her bridal dress. And for all of those out there who are seeing a marriage counselor, here's thought. This is a legend told again and again in the area around Sibiu, and it's hard to track its exact origins. In the past, couples looking to separate were locked in the prison tower in Sibiu for 2 weeks. During the time, they had to sleep in the same bed and eat together, which apparently, don't laugh, Tommy, which apparently resulted in meaningful conversations.
No.
There's a screaming man already. Given there were no smartphones at the time. As a result, it is said that only one couple actually went on with the divorce after spending 2 weeks locked up together. There we go. See? At the end of COVID, we're not all going to be crazy. We're going to have saved our marriage. As sweet as the story may sound, there is always that dark twist that kills the magic. This dark twist can be found in the legend of the Fortress Church in Cisnadiora, a small town close to Sibiu. In this case, the couples went through the same marriage counseling as their fellow citizens in Sibiu. The difference is that they were never to be released unless they made up. Apparently, the people in Cisnadiora took the phrase, "till death do us part," very seriously.
Oh.
So, I was recording my album Jules Cafe, and I had this song called Gypsy Queen. And I called my grandmother and I said, "Grandma, what is Gypsy Queen in Romanian?" And she said, It's Kinnigan. Here's my song from Jules Cafe called Kinnigan for all you gypsy queens out there.
You're a million miles away tonight, hypnotized by the firelight in your caravan of dreams. Can I be your gypsy queen? Like a raven, I'll be free. Take my heart, steal away with me. My love, surrender every need. Let me be your gypsy queen. And I'll be anywhere you wanna run, just to see your body shine in the midnight sun. I'll be your Kinnigan. 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 My love, take my wear my love like silver beads. I feel your footprints in the sand beneath my feet. I see the wild desire in your eyes tonight. Come shadow me in the naked moonlight. And I'll be anywhere you wanna run, just to see your body shine in the midnight sun. I'll be your Kinnigan. Kinnigan. Anywhere you run, just give me the night, take me somewhere into the light flies the raven. Kinnigan. My song, and I'll be your tambourine. You're a million miles away tonight, crystallized in a firelight, in a vision I have foreseen. I will be your gypsy queen. And I'll be anywhere you wanna run, just to see your body shine in the midnight sun. And I'll be anywhere you wanna run. I'll be your Kinnigan. Kinnigan. Just give me the night, take me somewhere into the light flies the raven. Kinnigan.
So I went searching the net to see if I could find some ideas for stay-at-home Halloween creative family ideas. And there are some really cool things out there. I gotta say, you know, it's really inspiring to see how creative everyone is being. And this came from an article that I found on Cafe Mom. And I just thought these were some ideas that you guys might want to work in if it's not too late. Number 1, watching scary movies as a family is awesome. Why not write and direct your own family homemade scary movie? Film and premiere it on Halloween. You never know. The kids could post it. Next thing you know, you're at the Sundance Festival. Trick-or-treating in the house. Door-to-door trick-or-treating is not the safest idea this year, so it's time to get creative. Decorate each door inside the home differently and have different kinds of candy in each room. The kids can still knock and yell trick-or-treat even if it's only to their parents. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And Halloween is a perfect excuse to dress up and dance the night away. Kids and adults can put on their favorite costumes, learn a Halloween dance like the Time Warp, Thriller, or Monster Mash, and make a music video. I think that is so cool. Monster Mash is very special to us. We had Jake 2 years ago. We were coming back from a tour out in Saskatchewan, and we stopped in at the Winnipeg bookstore to do our book signing, and Jake was so tired. He had been on the road for so long and was so tired. But as soon as we walked into that big bookstore to set up our table, Monster Mash was playing. It was around Halloween, and literally he just started dancing. It was so cool. He just started dancing like he knew he was a star and it was showtime, and he had everyone laughing and giggling. So Monster Mash is very special to us. So let's go from Transylvania across the water to northern Wales.
Ooh.
And of course, the Welsh have their own fairies and ghosts to talk about. But we were over there writing with our good friend Henry Priestman at his cottage in Mowbray, northern Wales. And he was telling us about a shipwreck that had happened in 1859. In fact, it was October 1859. A ship that was called the Royal Charter was returning to Liverpool from Melbourne, Australia. And apparently they had gone over to mine gold. They were very poverty-stricken. It was a hard time, and so a lot of them were coming back with a lot of gold, looking forward to starting a new life. And there was 371 passengers on board with a crew of about 112, and some other company employees, including many gold miners. And like I said, some of them had struck it rich in the diggings in Australia and were carrying large sums of gold. And on the northwestern tip of Anglesey on October 25th, the barometer reading was dropping, and it was claimed later by some passengers, though not confirmed, that the master, Captain Thomas Taylor, was advised to put into Holyhead Harbour for shelter. However, he decided to continue on to Liverpool. The Royal Charter, unfortunately, was hit by the windstorm and Force 10 storms, and the rapidly rising sea made it impossible. And during the night of October 25th to the 26th, the wind rose to Hurricane Force 12 on the Beaufort scale in what became known as the Royal Charter Storm. As the wind rose, its direction changed from east to northeast and then north-northeast, driving the ship towards the northeast coast of Anglesey, which is where Henry was, where we were looking out. At 11 p.m. she anchored, but at 1:30 a.m. on the 26th, the port anchor chain snapped, followed by the starboard chain an hour later. Despite cutting the masts to reduce the drag of the wind, the Royal Charter was driven inshore and the steam engines unable to make headway against the gale. The ship initially grounded on a sandbank, but in the early morning of the 26th, the rising tide drove her onto the rocks at a point just north of Mowbray. Everyone was told to dive in and try to make it to shore, and the crazy thing was, they stuffed their pockets full of gold, a lot of them, and of course, sunk. One member of the crew, Maltese-born Gussie Rugier, also known as Joseph Rogers, managed to swim ashore with a line, enabling a few people to be rescued, and a few others were able to struggle to shore through the surf. Most of the passengers and crew, a total of over 450, died. Many of them were killed by being dashed against the rocks by the waves rather than drowned. Others were said to have drowned weighed down by the belts of gold. they were wearing around their bodies.
Oh.
The survivors, 21 passengers and 18 crew members, were all men, and no women or children saved. We wrote this song with Henry Priestman about the Royal Charter, called Devil's Gold.
There's a tale the old folks tell here about the storm of 1859. 500 souls sailing homeward, dreaming of tomorrow with riches on their mind, pockets full of gold, the good life they could buy. Some of them so full of vanity and pride. Greed is the devil's daughter. In the deepest water, she'll drag you down. Her eyes drown you with misfortune. It's a sad misfortune when she takes a hold, and you lose it all for the devil's gold. Late afternoon, waves of white horses. The wind was picking up, the tide was rising on the shore. 10:45, and nature's forces had pushed the clipper round onto the rocks of Innismore. Panic spread on board. They heard the captain cry, "For God's sake, save yourselves and leave your gold behind." But greed is the devil's daughter. In the deepest water, she'll drag you down. Her eyes drown you with misfortune. It's a sad misfortune when she takes a hold, and you lose it all for the devil's gold. Some made it to the shore with nothing but their lives, but how much richer they who left their wealth behind. Greed is a devil's daughter. In the deepest water, she'll drag you down. Her eyes drown you with misfortune. It's a sad misfortune when she takes a hold. It's such a sad misfortune. God save us all from the devil's gold. God save us all from the devil's gold. From the devil's gold.
So geographically, our next obvious location should be from Liverpool over to Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Yeah. We have some good friends out there in Newfoundland and some new listeners, new subscribers to Jake's Place. Thank you guys so much. We want to thank MFN Radio, the voice of Conn River, Mupukix First Nation Radio. They have a new radio station out there, and it's wholly owned and operated community radio station in Conn River, Newfoundland and Labrador. And they play all kinds of wonderful music. They're not, told and programmed what they have to play. They play popular music, Newfoundland classics, and traditional Indigenous music, all in one station. And we were so excited to meet these lovely people. And they extended an invitation for us to submit some songs and also some programming. And when they heard Jake's play Songs and Tales, they decided to add it to their Saturday afternoon, 1 p.m. slot. And so if you guys want to check that out, we're really excited about that. Thank you so much. And they are holding a powwow scheduled for July 2nd to the 4th in 2021. And it's just been announced and confirmed that Mupukix First Nation Radio is very excited to announce that they will be partnering with Chev 94.5 Valley Radio, Grand Falls, Windsor, for the annual powwow. And so we're hoping to get out there and see all of you July 2nd to the 4th, 2021. And if you guys get a chance to go listen to them, you can stream them online. And you can find them on facebook.com/MFN Radio. And I went to their site and found this amazing post that they had made. And it's on October 26th. And I just think this ties in so perfectly with where we're at, all of us right now. It's quoted from A Cherokee Feast of Days by Joyce Sakiki Hifler. And I probably pronounced that wrong. Misunderstanding is as contagious as measles. It moves from person to person, skipping only those who have developed immunity. When there is an outbreak of misunderstanding in one place, there will be others, and not necessarily related. The source is usually a personality under pressure, and the vibrations are felt like rumbling before an explosion. It is not necessary to get caught in cloudy issues. If we hear something, we can refuse to pass it on. This is what happens when someone half listens but tells what he heard with little variations. When we keep our own opinions and refuse to be drawn into double talk, our conscience is clear, and we have not sent out anything to come back to us when we least need it. As Cochise said, I speak straight, and I do not wish to deceive or be deceived. Wasn't Cochise from your area, Tommy? Northern New Mexico, Arizona area?
Most definitely. He's considered one of the great Apache leaders, along with Geronimo.
Do you remember the time we met Geronimo's his grandson or great-grandson?
His great-grandson.
We were in Silver City, New Mexico, weren't we?
I was trying to figure out why we were there.
We were doing a concert.
But wasn't that like way north of there? We ended up in that town for some reason. We were just passing through.
Yeah, we had this concert, and oh my gosh, and we were staying in this. Well, it's a perfect story for Halloween, actually.
An old hotel.
We're on the fly with this one too, not planned. But we were staying in this old hotel. It used to be like the old carriage stop in the 1800s in Silver City, New Mexico, and You have a ghost story, Tommy. But before we get into that, we went down for breakfast, and we were sitting there, and we got talking with this couple who were shooting a documentary film on Native Americans in the area, and they were interviewing Geronimo's great-grandson. And lo and behold, the man stood up before us and turned around and smiled and waved before leaving the room, and it was just wow.
Talking about an aura.
And then the night before, we had played this gig, and do you remember we went back to the room, and you were going to go down to the coffee station in the hallway and make us a coffee, and you came back and had this terrified look on your face.
Yeah. Yeah, while I was standing there making our coffees, I felt like, when you're standing in a lobby and people are in a hotel and you can feel people walking by you or you feeling people standing there, and as I'm mixing up my coffee, got my sugar and my creamer and putting it in there, and waiting for yours to get hot through the coffee pot, and there was this weird. I felt like there was somebody standing there waiting for coffee behind me, and so I didn't turn around, but I just felt like there was somebody standing there, and I said, "I'll be down here in a second," and all of a sudden it felt like this. How somebody would just kind of take a step into you and bump you with their chest. And I thought it was kind of weird that this person who was standing waiting for a coffee was really impatient for their coffee, and bumped me. And I said, "I'll be done." And I turn around, and there's nobody there, not a soul. And I got the heebie-jeebies and grabbed the coffees and ran back to the room because I said, "This hotel's haunted. This hotel's haunted."
And we went to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Our favorite Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is kind of a cool segue. We're along the Route 66, right, Tommy? The old Route 66.
Route 66.
Yeah. And of course, the old Route 66, we've been down many parts of it. It started in Chicago and went all the way out to California. But there's a part that goes along the I-40 in Texas to New Mexico. And then it veers off. Some of the old Route 66 is off on the front road. But I was looking up ghosts of Route 66, and there are tons. If you guys want to have a fun time, just go and look up all the ghost stories along Route 66. But there's many called the Ghosts of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and here's a couple of them. The Arroyo, the spirit of Lelona, the weeping woman, is said to wander along this draining ditch in Albuquerque, New Mexico, crying and searching for her lost children.
Oh.
Thought to have murdered her children long ago. The legend is often told to children by their parents in order to get them to behave.
What?
Oh, yeah. And then there's the Church Street Cafe. This 18-room hacienda nestled in the heart of Old Town dates back to 1709. Originally built as a residence by the Ruiz family, it was referred to as the Casa de Ruiz for nearly 200 years. One of the oldest structures in the state of New Mexico, it remained in the Ruiz family until the last family member, Rufina G. Ruiz, died in 1991 at the age of 91. After Marie Coleman purchased the property and began renovations for the Church Street Cafe, it was found that the building continued to be inhabited by the spirit Rufina Ruiz's mother, a woman named Sarah Ruiz, known to be a curandera or healer. Sarah was obviously not happy with the renovations, as she once yelled at Marie when she brought in a contractor, "Get him out of here now." Oh my gosh. A ghost yelling. Once the contractor was finally hired, buckets began to mysteriously get kicked around. These types of antics continued until Marie began to talk to the spirit. Employees have seen Sarah's spirit in the cafe dressed in a long black dress, and a number of customers have felt her presence. This is a song called Ghost of 66 that was written by Gary O'Connor, who was the producer on my Jules Cafe album. And I'm going to send this out to Dina Wakefield from Albuquerque, New Mexico, our dear friend and fan, who wrote to us, "I'm so glad that you're doing the podcast. The stories and information is great. Being able to hear you perform is wonderful. And I hope that even after the whole COVID thing is lifted and you're back to solid grounds, you'll still do the podcast. Happy belated Thanksgiving." Here's for you, Dina, Ghost of 66.
Daddy said, "Girl, there's a world you ain't seen. from a two-lane blacktop. She used to be queen. You'd better be gone if you've never been. They're closing the road on the American dream. So we traveled in time, looking to the past, on a road where a sign said the future don't last. Top down on a midnight run, we went looking for America, driving to the sun. Gonna find highway freedom, looking for my fix, driving on the ghost of old 66. Driving on the ghost of old 66. See the neon glowing like a pearl-handled gun, like a Hollywood cowboy living on the run. Hear the old man's stories, how the West was won, and those days of glory are coming undone. Top down on a midnight run, we went looking for America, driving to the sun. Gonna find highway freedom, looking for my kicks, driving on the ghost of old 66. Driving on the ghost of old 66. Hey, hey. There's a hot wind blowing on a road to LA. Tell the world I'm going. Top down on a midnight run, we went looking for America, driving to the sun. Gonna find highway freedom, looking for my kicks, driving on the ghost of old 66. Top down, looking for my kicks, and driving on the ghost of old 66. Hey, driving on the ghost of old 66. Sing it! Top down. Hey, yeah, yeah. Gonna take a trip. Top down. Looking for my. Gonna get my kicks. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Top down.
So the candles are burning down in my jack-o'-lantern. Tommy's candy dish is just about empty.
That scared me. Who was that? Was that your last guest speaker?
Well, it did come from the closet behind me. We forgot to send him home. Oh, no. Oh, guys, we hope you've had a great time Halloweening with us here on episode 11 of Jake's Place. I know that we've had costumes, ghouls, goblins, witches, ghosts from all around the world partying with us tonight. And I don't know about you, but I think this has just been one of my most fun Halloween parties ever.
It was fun.
It was a blast. So we're going to leave you with take you down a little Mississippi right now. Little Mississippi Bayou.
Aye.
Take you down to some swampy Louisiana. Moss in the trees, alligators, or is it crocodiles? I can never remember.
It's crocs are in Australia, and alligators are in the south, in the Everglades.
And of course, copperheads.
Oh, copperheads, yeah.
So we wrote this song when we were down there doing a house concert. And we're going to leave you with this one. It's called Baby's Got a Banjo. Happy Halloween, and may your cauldron continue to bubble over.
My baby's got a banjo, plays it all night long. Sitting on the front porch, I just wanna be his next love song. He likes it down and dirty, yeah, that's the way he rolls. With some bayou backbeat, sure stirs up something in my soul.
I are just tickled to death that you took time out of your busy schedule to stop by and visit us today at Jake's Place Songs and Tales. We hope you enjoyed the show and will consider becoming a subscriber. You can find us and subscribe at your favorite podcast provider. If you're interested in becoming an underwriter or would just like to drop us a line, we'd love to hear from you. Please send all your feedback, comments, inquiries, ideas for future shows to tiamcgrath.com/Jake's Place. There you'll find our comments section, as well as our Lake Country store. Check out some of our cool merchandise, Jake the Road Dog book, and of course our CDs. You mean the world to us, and Tommy and I are just so thankful to be sharing this beautiful road dog journey with you, one paw print at a time. Until our next episode, let yourself be crazy beautiful, find the song in your heart, and hey, still some meat on that bone, Jake.